Hi, I'm Karl, KE0JWK. The desoldering tools that you're looking at are effective, but I've always found them clumsy and awkward to work with. So we're going to make some changes to them. Today's project is we're going to take that inexpensive air compressor that operates off a 12 volt, and look, it even comes with a dandy on-off switch already installed. We're going to convert that into a vacuum pump. I'm going to connect it to the desoldering iron in place of the squeeze ball, and hopefully we'll have a much more effective and easier to deal with way of removing parts off of existing boards. Alright, let's get the iron ready first, and then we'll set it aside. You can see it has this ring around here which holds the ball tight on the tube. A little bit of work with the pliers here, and we'll move that spring clip, remove the bulb, and it's ready to go for later in our project. Okay, I've removed the 5 screws that hold this particular case together. We'll open it up, we'll set the screws in the case aside, and we'll take a little closer look at what we have inside here. And for full disclosure, I already had it apart once, so I know what's inside here. So the way it operates is there's a check valve inside of here which pushes the pressure out. It keeps pressure from going back into the pump. Here is your air intake, which also has a it appears to be a rubber gasket type reed valve sort of arrangement that draws the air in. This is the part we're going to be dealing with. Very simple. We really don't need any of this. I'll leave it on there for now. But what we're going to do is attach a tube onto this part here. I've actually seen it done with epoxy, and it looked a little bit tedious because you had to worry about the epoxy running down into the intake hole there and affecting either the check valve or the cylinder head. So I'm going to try something a little different. We're going to try to do this with hot glue. So let me I'm going to go ahead and get the gauge and the hose out of the way, and we'll go from there. Okay, what I've done here, I took a rotary cutter Dremel type tool, and since we don't need either of these two parts anymore, I just cut them right off the unit. I'm going to set those aside. Might want to check for some sharp edges. Not that it really matters, because when you get all done, this will be mounted it back inside the unit, but if you need to, smooth them out a little bit. Alright, the next thing you're going to need is some various tubings, depending on your personal choice. This stuff I had all on hand, so I'm making do with what I have. And I've decided to use this 1/4 inch outside diameter plastic tube, and this I'm going to set aside. This is 1/4 inch inside diameter. These are both from previous projects. Same here. This is some old, I think it's 3/16 tube that I had laying around. It's getting a little bit on the stiff side from it's been used for as a little siphon tube and sitting around for a long time. So that brings me down to these 3. The 1/4 OD. I'm going to take and attach it to the actual pump, a short piece of it. Then I'm going to use a piece of the vinyl tubing, the 1/4 inch vinyl tubing, to slide over that, and that'll give me a short flexible piece. And I'm going to try to use this. I'm afraid the hole might be a little bit small and I could get solder chunks actually stuck in it, but I'm going to give it a try because it's very flexible. It'll be easy to deal with when I'm using the desoldering iron. But I've always got plenty of this to fall back on if that gives me problems. All I'll have to do is replace that with a piece of this slid onto this coming off of the pump. If that made sense, great. If not, you'll get the idea further on down the line in the video. Okay, I'm all set up, getting ready to do some hot glue in here. As you can see, I've attached my tube, centered it as well as I could over the hole, the intake hole. I've got it held in place with a rubber band, and I'm going to start by just putting a drop of hot glue in there and letting it cool, just to make sure that bottom doesn't move as I bump it around a little bit. So hopefully this will this will all work much better than the epoxy method. Let's get that out of the way for a second. Let that hot glue cool down so it doesn't let it move, and we'll move on from there. Anyway, one of the things that I did while I was away was I held the motor and pump compressor part into the housing, which I'm going to reuse, and made sure that I had enough tubes sticking up that it would come out the top of the housing so that I can place that 1/4-inch vinyl tube on and off of it as needed. When we get around to it, we'll take a Dremel tool and make a hole for that tube to come out. Okay, that hot glue should be set enough by now. So yeah, stuck my glue gun down, that's nice. So I'm just going to pump it full around here and hope that it seals real well. If it doesn't, I guess I'll disassemble it and try a different method. But I don't see any reason why the hot glue won't do a good job on this. And much easier to deal with than having to take the whole compressor apart to protect that reed valve. Okay, let's let that cool a little bit, and then we'll take the rubber band off, and I'm going to glue it up both sides, get it all secured real well, so any tugging on the tube won't pull it loose. What else? While we're waiting for that glue to cool off, I'm going to just go ahead and remove this cigarette lighter plug. In my case, I don't want it or need it. In your case, you might have a receptacle for it coming from your power supply, so you might want to keep it. But in my case, it's easier for me to just get rid of it and toss it away. For an inexpensive little product, I bought this compressor at Harbor Freight. Its normal price, I think, is in the teens. It was on sale for $9.99, and I get Harbor Freight's text message discounts, so I had a 25% coupon. They applied it to the compressor, so the compressor actually only cost me $7.49. This isn't a bad little cigarette lighter plug. I've seen them usually used better when I do need them, which I don't use them a whole lot, but I'll hang on to this one for a future project. Just throw it in the drawer there. Let's see if that glue is, oh yeah, it's not totally cool yet, but it's cool enough I can get this rubber band out of the way. And I think the simplest way to do that without pulling anything loose is just to clip it. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to get these locking pliers off of here that were holding us in place. I'm just going to run a bunch up each side of that, and that way hopefully it'll keep everything in place real well once I'm actually putting this to use. I'm just going to gob it on there real good. Alright. And I do find sometimes with some plastics, and using hot glue with them, that although the hot glue will stick to the surface, it doesn't hurt to melt it into the side of the plastic a little bit. I'm not sure about this one here, but I know some of them it just doesn't seem to bond real well to. I'm even going to glob some. This hex head screw here, Allen type screw, it's just a plug. There's no reason, I don't believe, that I'll ever have to take it out for the price of this compressor. If I ever need to service it, I'll probably just toss it and get a new one, but you never know, because I have a hard time throwing things away, character flaw. So, but if that happens, I'll worry about getting the glob of hot glue off of there later. And I think I'm even going to put a little bit all the way around it to let it bond together real well. And I'm sorry, my hands are full, and I hear my there's some repeater traffic on the 2-meter radio in the background. Hopefully it's not too bothersome on this video. If my hands weren't full, I would reach over and turn it down. But, oh, there we go. Okay, so now I'll reach over and turn it down, and I'm going to pause this again while this hot glue dries. I'll be back in a minute. All right, so the hot glue cooled. It's holding well. While we were gone, I went ahead and marked the case for where the tube needed cut out. And instead of using the Dremel, I just used a pair of flush cutters. I also went ahead and hooked this up to my power supply. And we'll give it a test here as soon as we get it put back together. So the other side, as you can see, I've marked. It is like right on the verge of getting that screw hole, and so we may or may not be able to put that top screw back in, but it really doesn't matter if we can't. I believe it's going to be okay, fit in there okay. But so I'll just cut this little piece of plastic out of there. Take a little bit off the side of this this plastic where the screw goes, and you can see what I've got there. Let's go ahead and fit this back together. I should run the cord here so that it doesn't get yanked out. I'm not sure exactly how they had it in there, but we're going to run it around these plastic tabs just a little bit. Get that motor to go. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but the motor does set in some nice little rubber mounts there to keep it in place. This might be easier if I get it on this side. The tabs are a little bit different. Put it in the rubber mount. Push it forward. I believe that screw will clear. Go around a little bit of a few of these tabs. I guess I could tie a knot in it also, but if I need to, I'll come back and do that later. I don't want to bore you with silly little things that are on the verge of common sense. So let's see if we can get this to fit together. Lining the little plastic tabs and the rubber mount up might be a little tricky. I'm sure the first time around when they assemble these in the factory, somebody has smaller hands or they're done by a machine, I don't know. Oh yeah, that cord's plenty firm by going around those. Okay, I'm going to put the screws back in the case, and we'll come back and give it a test. I'm sure you don't want to be bored with watching me turn screws in. Alright, we're back again. As you can see, I went ahead and slid my vinyl tubing over the end of the stiffer tube that we attached to the compressor. And I want to mention also that when I cut the power cord, the cigarette lighter adapter off the end of it, that had a fuse in it. We're operating without a fuse right now, so when I hook this up permanent, I will be putting an inline fuse back in. But we're going to give it a little try here. Let's keep our fingers crossed and hope it works well. Probably couldn't hear me over that now noisy thing. Good thing in my case it's going way under the cabinet. Hopefully it won't be so loud from down there. But as you can see, it wouldn't. I was pulling on it pretty good there, and it wouldn't release from my finger. So it's working. Happy with that. Now on to the whole purpose of this this project. And as you know, when I started, I said it was for a desoldering iron, which let me find it here. I already removed the ball off of it. It's got a spring clip around there. I just took a little pair of needle nose. I opened it up and pulled the ball off. It will attach directly on here, but there's a problem with that. If I do that, I've got to be a little concerned about sucking pieces of solder all the way into the compressor, and we don't want that because that'll destroy it quickly. So what I decided to do was take a small peanut butter jar, any jar that'll seal well, and I'm not sure if this one will or not. We won't know till we try. Any jar that'll seal well should work for this. Maybe even a little container like this. So, but a pill bottle, something like that, will probably work just as well. As I was explaining, any jar that'll seal up will do. In the worst case scenario, this one's big enough it'll last forever. If this doesn't seal, I'll just hot glue the lid down to it. While I was gone, I heated up an old soldering iron. I'm going to make some holes for the tubes. I'm just going to put them about across from each other. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, but we want this size tube to go in here. It's the same tubing I used on the compressor. I shouldn't call it a compressor anymore. I should call it a vacuum pump. So I'll just enlarge that. I could have got a drill and done this the right way, you know, but everything here was handy. So I'm using a shorter tube for the side that's going to the vacuum pump. I'm going to use a little longer tube so it's down in there farther to go to the desoldering irons. Get this hole opened up a little bit. There we go. Put that away. I think I'm done with it, so I'm going to unplug it. I just, when I'm not using them, I don't like soldering irons being hot. So I put them down in there far enough that I'll be able to put the tubes on them. I've got the glue gun heated back up. I'm just gonna, you know what, just so it looks a little nicer. Not that it matters, because it'll probably end up under the cabinet. But I think I am going to just glue these on the inside. Hopefully it'll work. If it's too much trouble, I'll do the outside or do both. Yeah, I know this is one of the worst parts about watching these kind of videos is when you get into this stuff here. Watching somebody glue something is not exactly exciting video, but I don't want to be on and off with the camera so much. I'm sure that's annoying also. I think that works pretty good. Like I say, if they don't seal, I can always glue them, hot glue them on the outside also. Okay, so what this will do is when small pieces of solder get sucked up by the vacuum pump, they will go in through this tube and drop to the bottom of the jar, and we won't have to worry about them getting sucked into the compressor. Now I will, I'm not sure how long I want to make this tube yet, so I'm just, as soon as that hot glue gets cool, we will do a little test and see if this jar seals. In the meantime, I believe all I have to do on the desoldering iron end is just push that on there. Yeah, that's going to work. I don't think I'm going to even need a clamp on there. So as you can see, this thing's seen a lot of use. That tip's just about gone, but I've got a new one around here also. Let's see if this hot glue is stiff enough yet. I can do a little test. Pull the magnifier down, make sure I didn't miss any areas. I don't think I did. Yeah, there is a little spot there I missed. Let me give it another little dab. That's the bad part about getting older and your eyes not working quite as well. You always have to have the magnifier handy. Alrighty, that should have done it. So, let's get that noisy thing off the bench. Bring the tube up here and hook it up the same way we did on the vacuum pump. I'm just going to hang it. Just the glue is just a little bit soft still. Turn the this will probably get a little noisy again. I'm just going to turn it on, put my finger over here and hold it for a little bit to make sure that it is sealed well. big cavity there. Not getting a lot of vacuum yet, but I can feel a little bit. Hopefully it'll. Yeah, I don't know if it's sealing around the top. It's a lot of air to remove out of there before it actually starts to draw much of a vacuum. Maybe my jar is too big, but it's one of the little things you can gain by watching the video here. See if I have to make any changes. It's drawing, it's just not drawing hard enough to stay on my finger yet. It is, however, probably drawing enough to work with the desoldering iron, and I might have. Maybe I'll put a little bead of silicone around there and screw it back together just to make sure I'm not leaking on the lid. I'll get a couple of things like that worked out, and I'll be back and we'll get this finished up. I went ahead and added some glue around here because I did have a little leak, so I put some on the outside. I should have known better to think a peanut butter jar would seal by itself. So I didn't. I was out of silicone adhesive, so I went ahead and put a bead of hot glue around there. Doesn't matter. It's not like the jar's a big deal. If I ever need to open it up, I can just replace it. I made a couple of adapters from the 1/4-inch tubing to this small tubing, which, like I said at the beginning, because of the small diameter hole, it's pretty big, but if I have clogging problems with it, I'll just use the bigger tube to go to the desoldering iron. I like the little tube better because it's much more flexible. So I've got a little adhesive around there. I'm going to carefully put it inside my adapter. I think, wait a minute, before I do that, let's go ahead and I'll show you how well this thing works. Take that back off of there, it's be easier for me to show you. So I'm going to fire the compressor up, I'm going to plug the end of this, and you'll see the peanut butter jar just want to collapse. See, it's still sucking in, so I'm going to let it go and let it relax again. That thing works great. Can't wait to actually put it to work. So I'll reinsert this into my little adapter here. I'll grab my desoldering iron and place it over that. I'll let that glue set for a while, and there it is. It's ready to go. Can't wait to test it out, get that thing to open back up. There shouldn't be any reason other than for testing that this jar would collapse unless something gets clogged. It just should be a constant suction drawn through the tip here, all the way through the hose, and all the way back to the vacuum pump. What I will do is, once I place that where I want it to be permanently underneath my cabinet, I'll cut this 1/8-inch line to the right length so that it reaches my workstation well without a lot of excess, and I'll be good to go. I hope you enjoyed the video. This is my first attempt. Please comment and let me know where I can become better, other than the interruptions. You can even mention them if it was a real bother. Hit the like button, and if you like what I did, let me know, and maybe I'll make some more. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm back for just a second. I decided to go ahead and try this thing out. I've got a new tip in my desoldering iron. It's heated up. I'll reach under here and flip the switch, and I can tell you I've tried it and it works great. I don't know if you'll be able to see any of this on the video. I don't have a good setup for very close-up photography, but just to get you an idea here, suck those clean. Boy, it just draws that solder right out of there. There were clean open holes now. Take this thing back off. Thanks for watching.